Now, our next guest burst onto our screens as troublemaker Sam Mitchell in EastEnders, but it was the much publicised drama in her real life, off the screen, that made all the headlines and caused scandal, as she gained a reputation as a party girl with a cocaine habit.
But recently, Danniella has revealed, after years of silence, that she was the victim of an horrific sex attack at the height of her fame. And she's here now to talk about that and so many other things in her life. Danniella, very nice to see you again.
Hey.
We're going to go back now to that attack, and to 1994 was the year. At what stage in your career were you then? Where were you at?
I had left EastEnders. I was going out with a guy that was in a boy band. I'd split up with him, and it was a terrible time anyway. I was really heavily into drugs and not so much drinking, but very heavily into drugs. Moved away from everybody in where I grew up and moved over to South London. It was just a difficult time in my life, and it's hard to talk about because I hadn't spoken to anybody about it until writing the book. I'd only spoken to my therapist briefly about it. And then when I was writing the book, to explain certain subjects, I just knew I needed to speak about it. And in doing so, then had to tell my husband and my mum and all that sort of thing as well.
That must be hard for you.
Yeah, because I just thought I would never speak to anybody ever. I never even spoke to my GP. Nobody, nobody about it.
This is a bad thing that we have to talk about now. And you know, you say you were using those drugs and you had to pay for them as well. So when the guys who are supplying you with these drugs, they call around and they say, "We want our money." You haven't got the money. What then happened?
Well, I had a few different people that I used to get my drugs from, and obviously being on TV, everybody thinks, you know, you're really rich, when everybody knows we're not. And I'd use that as a drug addict to my advantage. And pretty much basically the guy that I owed the money, one of the guys that I owed the money to, the people that he owed the money to, sent their people to get the money, and obviously he didn't have it, so he sent them to me. And I just knew. I knew the morning that I opened the front door, there were these three guys standing there in all their Stone Island and their, you know, all their gear. And they said to me, "Oh, we've come to talk to you about the money." And I was like, I can't shut the door because it's just going to get violent. So I asked them to come in. Had a cup of tea with them, and just all the time thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I can always think of something to get out of something, you know, and couldn't. So they went through everything. "We'll take you to your mum and dad's." My parents had split up, and I was like, "There's no way you can take me to my mum's. I can't do this to my mum." And then they said, "Well, where does your brother go to school? We'll go and meet him from school, and we'll have both you. Your mum will have to give us the money." And I was like, "No, I don't speak to my family. I don't, you know." So they said, "Well, who can stand the money for you?" And I was like, "Well, nobody." So they made some calls, and then when it was quite clear that I didn't have the money, they said to me, "Right, get ready, you're coming with us." So I thought I was going to get taken somewhere and beaten up or dumped somewhere or whatever. And actually, I wish it had been that, but it wasn't.
What amount of money are we talking
It was
about?
£5,000 then. This was 1994. And they took me to a place in South London, and the whole time in the car with them on the way over, I just kept thinking, where's the police car, where's the police car? But I knew that if I shouted out, it's just going to make it worse. These people aren't scared of police or anyone else. They're there to do what they've got to do. And they were trying to get in touch with the person that at the top of their tree that had sent them out for the money. And they took me into a flat, like a rented place. There was no family pictures or anything in there. It was quite a nice place. Just started giving me vodka and, you know, drugs, and then what I thought was ecstasy was obviously rohypnols. And I was there for nearly 3 days. And when it came quite clear that they couldn't get in touch with the guy and that I wasn't going to be able to give them the money, then it was a case of them, like, raping me and doing what they wanted to do for me until they were decided 3-day bender for them with drink and drugs was the start of my nightmare, really.
And all three of them raped you?
Yeah, and abused me. And I just went home and thought, I'm a drug addict. If I tell anybody, they'll just say it's what you deserve. And
when you say you just went home, Danniella, I mean, you must have been in a terrible state, emotionally and physically.
Well, they let me go out, and I went on the street and I walked. I just don't remember, and I blocked everything from that day out, and I felt pretty worthless anyway, being a drug addict, and I knew I was a drug addict. But then from then on, my life just got worse, and when I got pregnant, everyone said, "Well, why are you taking drugs?" And I just had this secret I didn't want to tell anyone, and I now know that them people need to own that, what they did to me.
And
I owed money and I was a drug addict, but
and now you
have
talked about it, and once, obviously you've talked about it publicly in the book now, but privately, when you first told your husband and your mum, was there a sense of relief that you had been able to talk about it?
Yeah, there was. I mean, telling my husband was really, really difficult because I was always... He's the closest person to me in the world, always has been, even with my family, and I just thought that this fantastic man that's gone through every single drama that I've had in my life would never have wanted to be with me. He would want to be with somebody that's had that happen to them, and it actually wasn't like that. And I just can't stress enough that if anything, anybody has been in this situation, then get help and speak out, because you can't live with this. It's not... it will kill you.
Life doesn't get much lower than that. I mean, that's rock bottom. You're trundling along at rock bottom for a long period of time. How were you then able, I mean, obviously you had the therapy situation, but how and why and what was it in your life that began to turn things around?
I think when we lost the company and we lost our money, and I lost my bubble of security, of being able to just, you know, shop and do everything, and just losing everything and coming back down to earth, was us being a family, and then going to America, and we did get involved with the church, and everybody says, oh, you know, you're crazy, you're on the God Squad. It worked for me. My faith is something that I have personally. It's not my husband's, it's not my children's, it's mine. And that does see me through a lot of things, and, you know, people can say you're a crazy Christian or whatever, but, you know, for me, Christianity works.
And what does it do for you?
I have a relationship, personally have a relationship with God that's my thing, where I feel like I'm, you know, his daughter, I'm worth something, and I didn't have that ever in my life.
And it's love. You talked about the love of your husband, the love of God, and your love for God there as well. In a time in your life where there's so much anger, so much hate, so much abuse that we're talking about here, that's the faith element. Now, the book is called Faith, Hope and Clarity. Talk us through hope and clarity.
Well, I always thought hope for me was just getting clean. You know, I got clean, had my daughter, and there was some hope in my life, and I started working again and started doing things, and I've always come back and worked. I've been fortunate enough to always work, which is great. But actually, in hindsight, it's not that. It's during writing this book, that's a story I never thought I would tell, and I just had this feeling that I had to speak about it and get it out there, and that's given me hope that this is all behind me now, and that was the last bit of my demons, I think, and that's fine, and that's the sense of clarity, and everything is, everything's out in the open. Everything I've put my husband through, he knows everything. With my, you know, especially with my bipolar and everything else that I have go on, for me that's a huge sense of clarity. And, you know, when this book is due to come out, I read it the week before, and I went into complete bipolar mode of, like, I can't let people know about that. People already think I'm, you know, a drug addict and a horrible person. Now they're going to think this.
The great thing is, Danniella, you've always come on here, you've always been very honest, and I think that helps a lot of people. You said already, just today, you know, if you're going through something like this, don't hide it, talk about it.
Don't be on your own.
You've been clean for 12 years now, which is amazing, and congratulations. How difficult every day does that remain, or are you so well over that you don't give drugs a second thought, or is it something that's always in your life?
Once an addict, always an addict, and I think if it's not drugs, it will be something else. So especially having a bipolar disorder as well, a mental health disorder, it's never easy, and I think you just have to watch yourself all the time, because one addiction can easily fall into another. You know, it's not about cocaine, it could be about anything, couldn't it? And for me, I have to watch myself, and I have to be honest. I spent years telling lies when the truth will do, but now I have to be honest.
Well, it's always amazing talking to you and hearing the journey that you've come through, and continued good luck with what's ahead. Normally at this point I'd say, and Danniella's book's available in the shops, but it's not. Actually, it's not.
It's self-published, so it's available on my website, Amazon, Kindle.
Yeah.
All of those good things.
It's all the modern way to do things.
Apparently, you know. So. I'm just not trendy. I don't know about electronic things.
It's good to see you looking so well.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much indeed.